Hello, I am Krishnamurthy Pammi. In this session, we are going to learn how to create product roadmap planning event in Agile way. We will take a case study called Health Book and we will understand step by step on how to create product roadmap planning event. In this session, we are going to discuss why it is important to have product roadmap planning event. We will support this idea with certain statistical insights. We will then understand how user experience makes a key differentiating factor while developing products that customer love. We will then go with a case study called Health Book, where step by step we will understand how to create agile product roadmap planning event. From the product roadmap that we derive on the case study called Health Book, we will then derive scope for multiple product releases. Thereby, we will learn how to derive scope for multiple release planning events within a product. We will finally close this particular session with certain thoughts on how to create products that customer love. Let us now first understand where the product roadmap planning event actually plays the role in agile planning. In agile, the planning is continuous. You have a strategy planning event where we will provide directions to multiple portfolios in terms of return on investment. This strategy planning event happens once or twice a year usually. Based on the inputs or the targets provided by the strategy planning event, the portfolio planning decides which products to retire, which products to create, which products to enhance to meet the set targets. So, as part of portfolio planning, you will get guidance for multiple product planning targets. This is how the product planning event gains significance. Now, as part of the target set for a specific product, the product roadmap planning event takes shape where it decides what features it need to build and when. It thus gives guidance to the release planning event. So, as per the target set for the release planning events, now we will decide the sprint planning and its targets. Now, as part of the sprint planning targets, we will actually derive inputs for the daily planning events. If you see, we are actually having a top-down flow, that is from strategy to portfolio to product to release to sprint and daily planning events. These constant planning events are important because in Agile, planning is continuous. Now, the outputs of daily planning to sprint planning to release planning to product planning to portfolio planning to strategy planning is what is actual is results are actually flowing. That means the actual results are flowing from bottom up while the expectations are coming from top to bottom. When we reconcile periodically, we will actually learn the lessons and we will provide inputs for the periodic planning events. Coming to product roadmap planning event, it bridges the connect between portfolio planning event, that means what products to create, what products to retire, what products to enhance. This is what happens based on the target set for portfolio, to releases within a product. So the product roadmap planning bridges the gap between the portfolio planning and the release planning. Let us now understand certain statistical insights. Standish Group International survey, it was conducted, and it says that application development projects, packaging application projects, and modernizations or enhancements kind of a projects. It has taken 3 categories of projects and it conducted a survey how many projects are successful, how many projects are challenged, how many projects are failed. When we say successful, challenged, or fail, it actually used the three quadrants like scope, quality, cost, schedule, risk, and resources. Primarily, it went upon scope, schedule, and cost. So the projects that met the target scope within the target schedule, within the target cost, are actually identified as successful. When we look at the application development projects that got surveyed as part of this particular study, only 4% of the applications are successful. That means out of 100 projects that got developed, where applications got developed, only 4% of the projects were successful. It's quite strange. Similarly, when it comes to packaging applications, 30% of the projects are successful. When it comes to enhancements or modernizations, 53% of the projects got successful. When it comes to development projects, okay, 4% were successful, 47% were challenged, 49% were failed. Yeah. So now let us see of the successful projects, okay, it then went on, what's the value it brought, okay, of the successful projects, okay, very high value was given by 13% of the projects. Again, I'm saying it is of the successful person projects. That means if you see here, this is what is a successful layer of these projects, of these successful projects. It says that 13% of the projects yielded high value, 27% of the projects yielded high value. That means 13% yielded very high value and 27% yielded high value, whereas 46% of the projects yielded average value and 11% of the projects yielded low value and 4% of the projects yielded very low value. So if you wanted to see how many percent of the projects that yielded high value and very high value are 27% plus 13%, that is only 40%. Now it went on further dimensions like how many features were used. Okay, it says that of the successful projects, only 20% of the projects they were used frequently, and 30% of the projects were not at all used, or they're used rarely, and hardly ever projects are 50%. So the interesting thing is only 20% of the features are frequently used and only 40% of the projects are yielding high value. Okay, so what is missing here? If you see why, because we develop products and we invest a lot of money, and it's quite interesting why only 20% of the features are frequently used. So if you reconcile, if you see Microsoft Excel, you have multiple features, but how many features we use? We use very minimum. Yeah, it relates to this particular concept, like only 20% of the features are frequently used. But when it comes to development of a product, we invest a lot. We take each feature as very important, right? So what is missing? Why only 20% of the features are frequently used by the end users? And why only 40% of the successful projects are providing high return on investment? What is missing? The missing piece is the product vision is missing. Even if we have a product vision, does it contain a clear attributes like who is going to use our product? What are the business needs our product will address? What value our product will bring? Which product attributes are critical for our product success? Do we have that dimensions? If we have defined these dimensions, whether the whole team unit that works on the product knows about it, reality says it is missing. My friends, it's important to understand Steve Jobs' quote here. You have got to start with the customer experience and work back towards the technology, not the other way around. My friends, most probably, most product development units, they think inside out. That means what technology they got inside. Two, they wanted to look forward how to carve, how to craft the needs of the users. But that's not the way. Okay, Steve Jobs says you've got to start with the customer experience and then work backwards towards the technology. This is where you can actually create products that customer love. Okay, so friends, user experience is the key differentiating factor. User experience design is not just a user interface design, it is a system. It is not a step in the process. User experience design is not a step in the process, it is the process. It is not just about a technology, it is a behavior. User experience design is not just about usability, it is about the value we create to the end user. User experience design is not about the user, it is about the context. Similarly, user experience design is not expensive, it is flexible. User experience design is not easy, it is a balancing act between what customer wants and how organization wants to build the product. And user experience design is not the role of one person or department, it is a culture with which we have to build the products. User experience design is not a single discipline, it is a result of collaboration between multiple units. User experience design is not a choice, it is a measure of survival in today's market. Okay, so user experience is the key. 74% of businesses believe user experience is the key for improving sales, conversions, and loyalty. So the user experience actually comes at the intersection of useful information, business goals, and user needs. So 74% of the businesses believe user experience is a key decision maker in building products that customer love. Okay, so keeping the user experience at heart, let us create product roadmap in our session. Okay, so agile product roadmap or agile planning happens in layer, my friends. The layers that are how shown on the onion. Similarly, we will have the agile planning events, and these planning events, okay, interact with each other, right? We have a product roadmap planning event. It provides inputs to release planning event. It provides inputs to sprint planning event. It provides inputs to story planning event. This is how you have seen the onion layers, right? Similarly, you will see the product roadmap planning event providing inputs to release planning event. So as part of release planning event, we will understand how can we release value incrementally, what subset of business objectives will each release achieve, what user constituencies will the release serve. Similarly, it provides inputs to sprint or iteration planning events. It talks about what specifically we built, that means what user stories will build, how will this iteration move us towards release objectives. Okay, so each sprint or iteration should give guidance towards release planning objectives. Similarly, my friends, as part of the sprint planning event, we'll give guidance to story planning. That means what user or stakeholder needs will the story serve? How will the story specifically look and behave? How will I determine if it is completed? That means the definition of done of a story. So if you see here, the product roadmap planning event, release planning event, sprint planning event, story planning event, they are acting as a layers. The important thing is these layers should interact. That's important. As long as we make these layers congruent, okay, this is where the planning takes a brilliant art. Okay, we see on the ground wherein these planning events happens, but their outputs are not connected, at the right periodicity. If their outputs are not connected, either top down or bottom up at the right periodicity, the whole planning outcome will go for a toss. So friends, it is very important, like onion layers. Okay, the agile planning events, okay, they happen periodically, they're congruent, their outcomes are congruent and well connected, either from top down to bottom up. Okay, so this is what is the significance of agile planning events. Let us now understand a case study. Okay, our case study is called Health Book. It's a new product. Okay, as part of this health book, okay, we basically connect health providers to the patient community. Okay, so if you see, we are leveraging the internet technologies. Okay, we are connecting the healthcare providers, that can be, mobile clinics or doctors. Okay, and we are actually trying to provide our services to patients. That means whoever wants to pursue their health needs, they'll subscribe or log on to our product called Health Book, and they'll click on which providers can serve their needs, or which doctor community can serve their needs. So they click on it, so that a mobile van or a doctors will come to their locality. So we are leveraging Internet of Things. So our product is called Health Book, and the vision of our product is be the first trustable social healthcare platform leveraging Internet of Things, where eligible healthcare stakeholders can subscribe, converse, and collaborate, thereby enhance its reach anytime, anywhere. So the key factors are, we wanted to be the first trustable social healthcare platform. Okay, so leveraging the Internet of Things. Okay, we are building this product in an era where such kind of product is not existing. So leveraging Internet of Things, even from the villages, people can actually subscribe to this product, so that the healthcare providers, that can be an organizations or a set of branded hospitals, or a set of doctors. Okay, they can actually understand the needs of the patients, and they come to the village, right to the patient's place, and they treat them. This is what is the vision. So our vision is the first trustable social healthcare platform leveraging Internet of Things, where eligible healthcare stakeholders can subscribe, converse, and collaborate, thereby enhance its reach anytime, anywhere. Okay, friends, let us now talk this vision in detail. Why? Because it is important that we talk about who is going to use our product. Okay, and what are the needs our product will address, what value our product will bring, which product attributes are critical. So these things we need to lie down very early in the game, and it needs to be clearly understood and agreeable to the product building team. That is why it's very important that we have to detail our vision in detail. Okay, so what are those attributes? Who is going to use our product? Healthcare providers, that means pharma companies, hospitals, patients, and doctors. Similarly, what are the needs that our product will address? Eligible healthcare providers and patients can subscribe, converse, and collaborate. That means our healthcare providers and patients, they both subscribe, they converse, they collaborate, and they do e-commerce. Okay, ultimately the value should get exchanged. Okay, what value our product will bring? We enhance quality healthcare and its reach anytime, anywhere. And then which product attributes are critical, my friends? Okay, it is trustable social healthcare platform leveraging Internet of Things. So these are the critical attributes that we wanted to highlight as part of vision. So if you want to build products that customer love, first we need to have a proper vision, and we also need to build this vision on critical attributes, and these attributes along with the vision should be very clearly understood by the product building team. Okay, and this is where we are going to make the first step of creating products of customer love. Okay, so let us now go for a preparation for product roadmap planning event. Okay, we will basically invite stakeholders. Okay, and then we plan for the event. So who are the stakeholders? In our case, it is healthcare providers. That means selected clinic representatives, selected doctors, selected pharma companies, selected representatives. Okay, and other stakeholders are healthcare receivers. That means the people who receive the healthcare, they are patient group representatives from different geographies. Similarly, from your organization who is building the product, okay, the steering committee executives, product owners, and area product owners selected Spock from Scrum teams. Okay, so Scrum teams are the teams that are actually building the product. Okay, now we'll plan for the event. That means we'll reserve a large room for a product roadmap planning event. We will secure large size and small size post-its. We'll send a meeting invite and we'll engage with stakeholders to make sure that all the stakeholders come to the event. Remember, my friends, the absence of certain critical stakeholders will impact our product roadmap planning event. So that is why we need to engage with the stakeholders, explain them why it is important. At the times, we need to understand the constraints that prevent them to attend our meeting. So we need to resolve those constraints so that their availability is assured. Okay, so this is the preparation that we are doing for product roadmap planning event, where we are inviting stakeholders and we are planning for the event. Okay, then we need to start our product roadmap planning event with user experience, because this is what we have understood. User experience either makes or breaks our products. So we wanted to start the understanding of our product with user experience at heart. Okay, so the first community we wanted to understand is the patient community, because they are the health care receivers. Okay, so we will understand the needs of patient community the way Agile expects us. That means in a typical user story template. That means as a user, I want this functionality so that I can achieve this. So likewise, we wanted to understand the patient community needs. So it says, as a patient, I want to sign up to the product so that I can log in and use. So I should have the ability of signing up to the product as a patient. Similarly, the second need is, as a patient, I should be able to see the list of provider offerings so that I can be aware of healthcare offerings and their categories for my locality. So friends, as part of the second thing, what I am telling is, once I log in as a patient, I should be able to see what kind of offerings the healthcare providers are offering within my locality so that I'm aware of it and I can take a decision. The third one is, as a patient, I should be able to update my settings so that I can update my account settings, security settings, privacy settings, like who can see my stuff. Because see, this is my healthcare needs, right? Not always I want people to be aware of my healthcare needs. Okay, I want certain privacy. So that's why I need to have certain privacy settings, like who can see my stuff, who can contact me, how can I stop someone from bothering me, how can I change password, etc. So that kind of capabilities I want to have. Okay, the next one is, as a patient, I want to post my need and respond to other posts so that I can converse with the selected healthcare providers about my need. So friends, as a patient, I want to post my need. Okay, so I should be able to post my need. This is my need, and I should be able to respond to the feeds that I'm receiving. The way you see on the Facebook, we are now building a product called Health Book. So we'll basically have the ability where patients posts their need and responds to the other posts, so that there will be a conversation on the healthcare platform. Similarly, the next feature is, as a patient, I should be able to send a friend request to other patient of my choice who subscribe to this product so that I can include them in my friend list. So friends, in healthcare, what happens is, one way is what doctors are telling matters in one direction. The other direction is the patient community, how people of my same category are exchanging their views. Is there a solution that I can perceive from their conversations? So basically, I should be having the ability to join in multiple groups of my choice. Okay. The next feature is, as a patient, I should be able to subscribe to the community groups so that I can converse within the groups. Okay. So the next one is, for the patient community. As a patient, I should be able to see homepage so that I can see history of my past posts, list of friends who accepted my friend requests, groups I subscribe to. So I want to have a home page wherein I see history of my past posts, the way I see on the Facebook. Similarly, on my health book also, what were my past posts, who are my friends who accepted my requests, what are the groups that I subscribe to. I should be able to see. I should be able to see. Okay. So as a patient, I want to converse with my friends privately so that I can have private conversations with them. That kind of capability we wanted to have. And as a patient, I should be able to exit from the product. So these are the critical features from the patient community perspective we wanted to build in our product. If you see here, we are starting with patient community, the people, the end users of our platform, our application. So we are understanding their needs in the way Agile suggests us. That is, as a user, I want this functionality so that I can achieve this benefit. So in this way, we are keeping our shoes from the patient community perspective, and we are trying to understand their needs. Okay. The next, we will go and understand the healthcare provider community needs, because for our application, at one end we have patients who are receiving the services, at the other end they are healthcare providers or pharma providers who provide the services, and our product is a connecting platform. So we need to understand the healthcare provider needs as well. So if you see here, the healthcare provider can be a mobile health clinic van or a set of doctors who are reaching the patients in villages. Yeah. So their needs are, as a provider, I want to sign up as either mobile clinic or a doctor with localities of my reach. So I'll say I'm a healthcare provider. I provide my offerings through mobile clinic van or a group of doctors, okay, where I go and service the needs of the patient community within this reach. Okay. Then the next need is, as a provider, I want to publish a list of my offerings so that I can make patients aware of my healthcare offerings for their locality. So as a healthcare provider, I should say, here is the list of offerings I make and within this locality, so that patients can understand and subscribe to this. Next is, as a provider, I should be able to update my settings so that I can update my account settings, security settings, privacy settings, like who can see my stuff, who can contact me, how can I stop someone bothering me, change password, etc. So same as what we have seen in case of patients. Similarly, we want the same settings, same privacy settings to be applicable for the healthcare providers as well. Okay. Now, as a provider, I want to post my need and respond to other posts so that I can converse with the patients, patient communities, and other providers. Yeah. So here we are looking the system from the healthcare provider point of view, and they should be able to post their need, they should be able to post their offerings, and they should be able to respond to the requests received. So such kind of capability our product should have. Next is, as a patient, I should be able to send a friend request, or here it is, as a healthcare provider, we should be able to send a friend request to other providers of my choice who subscribe to this product so that we can include them in our list. So as a healthcare provider, I also wanted to tie up and with a healthcare providers of my choice, of my like, of my category. Similarly, as a provider, I should be able to subscribe to the community groups so that I can converse within the groups. Yeah. So we are actually building a system on features parallel to patients for providers also. Okay. Now, mm, the other set of features we want to build for healthcare providers are, as a provider, I should be able to see homepage so that I can see the history of my past posts, list of friends who accepted my requests, groups that I subscribe to. So as a provider, I should have my own homepage, okay, where I can see what posts I have posted in the past. Similarly, what we see on the Facebook here on Healthbook, we wanted to see for provider specific homepage where you see their past requests, the groups that they subscribe to, the friend requests they received, kind of stuff. Now, as a provider, I want to converse with my friend privately so that I can have private conversation with them. So it's about a conversation in private. Okay, and as a provider, I should be able to exit from the product. So these are the functionalities or needs we wanted to build for healthcare provider in our product. The key difference is we are perceiving the needs the way Agile is suggesting us. That is, as a user or a persona, I want this functionality so that I can achieve this benefit. So in that pattern, we are actually trying to understand the needs of healthcare providers. Now, let us understand how to organize user stories into product roadmap that communicates user experience. So friends, so far, both for healthcare providers as well as the patient community, we understand their user needs or user stories. Okay, now let us organize user stories into the product mode, into the product roadmap that communicates user experience. Okay, so we will arrange the activities from left to right. Okay, so in order to understand, okay, you will ask the people or the end user to explain, if you log on to my system, what do you do with my system? Okay, so the users will say, okay, I'll sign up, and then I look at the offerings I have for me. I should be able to change my settings. I should be able to post based on the offerings that are available to me, and then I should be able to send a friend request. I should be able to see the groups around me and join. And I want to see my home page. I should be able to message to people in private, and I should exit. So this is one user journey that we have taken. So usually we invite the user champions who knows the needs of the users, and we'll ask them, okay, here are the set of features we are having, and what do you do with my system once you log on? So based on their journey, their story, we will actually formulate our walking skeleton. So here is how we group our product offerings. Okay, and this particular grouping is being done based on the user preferences. Remember, my friends, we are building this particular product roadmap planning event keeping user experience at heart. Okay, so the key here is, how do we build features? Okay, now the building bricks of this product roadmap planning event is, first we need to understand what are the user needs, what are the user goals, what are the user needs, and what are the user goals. And we will basically translate those user needs and goals into tasks. Okay, and and these tasks we define in the way of user stories, and a group of user stories related to feature capabilities to a product. So whenever we wanted to define the user features, basically we'll first think through their needs and what goals they want to achieve. Now, their needs, their goals need to be split into tasks, and those tasks give rise, to our features. This is what is the building bricks of, building features into our product. Okay, friends. Now we were now all set to add task-centric stories. Okay, we have asked the user community, what do you do with our system, and we have, come up with the column headings. So this is how the user journey is going to be. This is called the walking skeleton. Okay, now we will basically start arranging the user stories. For example, when it comes to sign up, the new user registration, existing user login, forget my password, language supportability, login using mobile, these are all the features we are clubbing under the heading called sign up. Similarly, offerings, publish offerings, catalog of offerings, select catalog, modify the offerings, delete offerings. These are all the list of user stories or feature capabilities under the heading called offerings. Similarly, settings, password change, name and language change, deactivating an account, privacy setting, who can add to my timeline. So this is what is actually going to settings. Similarly, we come up with posts, creating a post, edit or deleting a post, restrict visibility, upload videos or photos, or who should see my stuff. So all those things are coming under post. Likewise, friend requests, okay, groups, home, message and exit. We are actually coming up with a list of related stories for each of the heading of the theme. So what we have done, we basically constructed a walking skeleton on the top, and then we are detailing these user stories. Now the critical thing here is we need to make sure the mandatory user stories are written on the top, and optional or less frequently used features are detailed towards the bottom. So this is how we need to arrange our user stories. So these task centric features, okay, they need to be arranged in such a way that most important and mandatory features are written on the top, and less uh, mm, 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 less frequently used or more optional features are written towards the bottom. Okay, now we will now understand how to derive scope for product releases. Okay, we will have the paradigm called each feature can be split into at least four parts: bare necessity, capability or flexibility, safety, usability, performance, sex appeal. So bare necessity means what is essential functionality necessary to determine or to demonstrate the simplest use of features. Okay, what is bare necessity capability? Bare necessity is what is the essential functionality necessary to demonstrate simplest use of feature. Okay, if you want to take an example, for example, a form with only necessary fields and no validation, that's a bare necessity. So next is capability and flexibility. That means what would add the ability to perform the user task in different ways. So adding subtasks that are optionally performed. For example, a form with optional fields, date lookup tools, input translation on dates. Slowly we are building capabilities on top of this form in our example. So we have now seen at bare necessity, then we are actually adding capability and flexibility, and now we are proceeding towards safety. That means safety means what would make this feature safer for me to use, for both the user and for the business paying the software. So that means input validation, enforcement of business rules such as credit card validation kind of a stuff, and then usability, performance, and sex appeal. What would make this feature easier to use, more desirable to use, faster to use? Examples are auto completion, a very good visual system, speed keys, all those stuff. So friends, what are we doing? Every capability we are looking into four segments. Segment number one is what is the bare minimum necessity that we want to build in. Second, we are building a little more flexibility, a little more capability. Third, we are building safety into it. Fourth, we are improving the usability. We are improving performance. We are improving the look and feel. That means the sex and look and feel of the system. We want to build a sexy system. Yeah. So this is how our thought process should be while structuring the user stories from top to bottom. That means we'll first build the bare necessary features towards the top. Then we will start building capability and flexibility here. Then we will go for safety. Then we'll go for performance, look and feel, and and usability towards the bottom. So this is how we need to arrange the stories along the column headings, because these column headings are your walking skeletons. Yeah. So now the mind game is you need to open a simple system span of features, the walking skeleton. Okay, then you need to add flexibility and safety next, and finally you wanted to finish with comfort, performance and luxury to your product. So friends, with this mind game, okay, we wanted to cut the scope targets for multiple releases. For example, if you see here, this is the working skeleton. Along with this, the bare minimum functionality, this is called MVP, minimum viable product. Okay, so this is what goes for the first release cut. Okay, then if you see the pink region, this is the second scope target for the second release. So that means what are we doing? We are actually adding more flexibility, more capability. Then third one is this particular layer. Okay, so this is where we are building, safety. Okay, and then finally we are ending up with more usability, more look and feel, more performance. Okay, here in this example we came up with the targets for 4 releases, but in real time you can have multiple releases, but the idea is the same thing. Build the bare minimum necessity first, then add capability and flexibility next, then add safety next, and then ultimately you close it with a comfort, performance and luxury. So this is how you need to arrange your stories, okay, along the walking skeleton. Again, walking skeleton is the list of headings, the list of user journeys, the list of broad themes that customer journeys through. Okay, that is what it is. And this particular walking skeleton you arrange from left to right based upon the user influencers or the user champion suggestions, and then you will arrange the related stories based on the paradigm we have written here. Bare necessity features towards top. Okay, next go with capability and flexibility here. Okay, and then go for safety. Okay, and then finally you close it with more usability, more performance, more look and feel here. Okay, and then based on this thought process you cut the scopes for multiple releases within the product roadmap planning. My friend, the other factors that you wanted to consider while deriving the scope for multiple releases is about amount of uncertainty. Okay, the ease of getting the feedback, how long priorities can remain unchanged, a sense of urgency, the team capacity and velocity available at your hands. So these are the parameters that can also influence in how many number of releases you have to cut. Okay, for example, if the amount of uncertainty, okay, it is going to last more, okay, the uncertainty period is more, then probably I wanted to go for a cut zones of certainty. Okay, or if the ease of getting feedback is easy, then I want to go for a quicker releases. And if the priorities are going to be unchanged for longer time, then I go for bigger releases, but shorter time, short releases. Similarly, the sense of urgency in terms of reaching the market. Similarly, the team capacity and velocity available at my hands. So all these factors also I need to consider while deriving the scope for multiple releases. Yeah. So now friends, if you wanted to build products that customer love, these are the top key things you need to keep in mind. User experience does not start at purchase. It begins when the user has a need. Again, I'm repeating, user experience does not start at purchase. It begins when the user has a need. Okay, a need. That means the user need, if you can able to pair with your product, okay, or if you pair the user need with the problem that product is going to solve, the role of marketing shifts from generating demand to generating awareness. For example, if you wanted to look for healthcare products like yoga or some other health care needs, it's a blue ocean. The patients need more of it, the users need more of it, there is no competition. So uh, if you can able to align your product vision to the true needs of user community, you don't need to do a great marketing to promote your product. It's just that people should be aware of their product. People, the moment they're aware of the product and its users, then it gets automatically get connected to their needs. So we need to make sure, right when you conceive or you perceive the product's need, the conceptual stage itself, if you can able to pair users true needs with the problem that product is going to solve, then it's just that you have to make people aware of the product. That itself will generate a lot of demand for you. Then the next one is interaction. That means 70% of the buying experience are based on how the customer feel and how they are treated. True. So the people come to the store, okay, and they interact based upon how genuinely you are concerned about their interest, how genuinely the sales executive is interested in understanding their needs. So most of the sales executives, they want to push what they have at hand. It doesn't work like that. We first need to understand what customer is feeling internally. Certain wishes, certain intent, they may not be able to express, but because the sales executives or the product champions are aware of the product features or related features in this particular category, okay, we can actually understand the told and untold part, and we can actually convert them and say, is it what you're looking for? Yeah, I have this for you. So a genuine interest to understand their needs, a genuine interest to understand their constraints and respecting them, and showing a real passion to connect the product needs to their needs is what generates a good interaction. In my experience, there are so many buyers who don't go to store just to buy. They just go for a window shopping just to see how things are looking like. But the moment the sales executive connects with their innate needs, then when the interactions are fruitful, then they actually become buyers of the product. And then the last one is engagement. So it is not sufficient, our role is not ending after customers are purchasing products. In fact, we are starting the second wave of our engagement. That means we should call them up and say, how do you feel about my product? Are you getting the services of your choice? Can I help you anything better so that you can get the best of the products? Do you understand what all features the product is going to give? Do you want a demo? A call after they become your buyers, and that is going to create more engagement, and that is getting the users to your loyalty segment. So friends, if you wanted to build products that customer love, please understand the user experience does not start at purchase. It begins when the user has a need. Okay, so it has three dimensions. The need, that means your product's vision should connect to the user's innate needs, your true needs. Okay, the moment the pair happens, the pairing of user need versus the product vision, then that is the first successful part of creating products that customer love. The second one is interactions. Okay, genuine interest to understand the user's real needs, a respect to respect the user's constraints, because we should respect user constraints. Some people may not able to afford to more money, so we should respect their constraint, and we should see within their constraints what kind of other offerings we can show to them. And then a true engagement that can actually get the users to your loyalty segment. So these are the factors, if you keep it in mind, that can help us build products that customer love. So finally, it is important to remember the quote of Steve Jobs here. You have to get closer than ever to your customers, so close that you tell them what they need well before they realize it themselves. So the end users will tell something around what they want. Certain times, or most of the times, they may not be able to tell what they want exactly. So you have to go closer to such an extent that you can able to spot what they need within their constraints. The moment you do that, this is where you are going to build a product of customer love. Okay, so let's recap, my friends. What did we understand? Okay, we understood why it is important to have product roadmap planning event. We understood where exactly it bridges the gap. The product roadmap planning event bridges between portfolio board targets with release planning targets. It sits in between. We have gone through statistical survey that says only 20% of the features are frequently used. Only 40% of the successful projects are yielding high value to you. So why it is happening? It is happening because the product vision is missing. Even if it is there, it is not properly grounded on the proper attributes. Even if the proper attributes are there, that is not well communicated or well digested by the product building team. Then we have understood the other factor called user experience, the key differentiating factor. My friends, the user experience can either make or break. It is a discipline, it is a culture. And then, keeping user experience at heart, we understood a case study called Health Book, where we understood step by step how to create a product roadmap planning event in agile way. And then we have derived multiple scope releases. That means for different releases, what are the scope? We understood a paradigm saying that bare minimum necessity, we should go first. Then we should add capability, and then usability, and then performance, and then look and feel. So depending upon these set of factors and the available capacity and market situation we have at hand, we need to cut the scope for multiple releases. And finally, we have understood that certain thoughts like needs, interactions, and engagements are the critical factors in building the products that customer love. I thank your interest to learn, and I look forward to add more value added sessions in future. Thank you.